I agree. Now would be a great time for all employees to check their withholdings. This comes directly from the IRS, but I strongly agree. We've been helping people increase their cash flow, understand their withholdings for years now, over a decade. And I know the importance of truly understanding what's coming out of your check from a federal tax standpoint. In this part of the year, now that income tax season is, practically over, now what you want to do is position yourself to make sure that next year you're in the position that you desire to be in. What do I mean? That means that you want to position yourself to where if you owe this year in taxes, you want to position yourself to where you do not owe next year. If you got exactly what you wanted out of your tax situation, then you want to make sure that you're on the same path to doing so. And there's many ways to do that. Sometimes people think that if they owe last year or this year, then they just want to make sure that they're paying extra into taxes in order to make sure that when it's time to file their taxes, they get a refund. I'm of the belief that if you owe, you need to figure out how to get more tax deductions, more tax incentives and credits. That could be having a home-based business. That could be operating an online business, becoming a content creator. That could be investing your money in a certain vehicle that can lower your tax liability. And that also can position you to get a larger refund. So there are multiple strategies, but at least revisiting your W-4 or your withholding estimator and turning it in can position you to do what's known as some form of tax planning. This doesn't require you to be an expert. This just requires you to know, okay, taxes is a big deal. This is a big expense. Most people will pay over $1 million in taxes. So I think it's worth at least understanding how to mitigate or lower your tax liability legally and understand taxes enough to do what you can do. And then if you do what you can do, you can hand it over to your tax professional when it's time to file taxes and they do what they can do. But hopefully they understand tax code, tax liability, tax deductions, and they're not afraid to apply those tax deductions. So let's dive in. IRS encourages taxpayers to check withholding now for next year. Basically, they said the IRS reminds taxpayers that proper tax withholding now is key to avoiding surprises when they file their tax return next year. Making any needed adjustments earlier in the year means taxpayers won't have to make a big change later in the year to catch up. Because if you're already in a bad flow of taxes, meaning that you're already underpaying in taxes and not accumulate tax deduction, then when it's time to file taxes next year, it will be a surprise. But if you get control of it now and we're not halfway through the year yet, you position yourself to win in this scenario. So they're right. I agree. The IRS Tax Withholding Estimator is a free online tool, which we have videos. It's a tax. We have a W-4 playlist that shows people how to properly use the tax withholding depending on your scenario, whether you're single, married, or filing jointly. We have several different examples that you can use on our W-4 playlist. If you want access to it and you don't know how to locate it, then feel free to drop it in the comments that you want it, and then I'll make it available to you via link. But it should be easy to find. If you navigate to our playlist section, you'll see the W-4 section where we have gone over several, scenarios that can help you with your tax scenario from a withholding standpoint. But it's a free tool to help workers, independent contractors, and retirees determine if they are having the right amount of federal income tax withheld from their paychecks. Using it can prevent taxpayers from having an unexpectedly large tax bill or substantial refund when they file in 2026. So it's all about what you're wanting out of it. I'm not here to tell you what you should do based on your situation. I'm here to just share and educate things of how it worked, and then you decide what's best for you, but also give you some guidance on things that I've personally done and implemented, and then you do what you feel with that information. So why use the estimator? I prefer the estimator over the paper form because it takes the math out of it and it puts you in a position to where you know exactly what to expect because the formula is already there. So taxes are pay as you go, which means the taxpayers need to pay their taxes as they receive their income. They do this through withholding. So that's why most people are paying throughout the year. They're paying it as they earn income based on the amount of income you paid a certain percentage, and then it positions you on a year-by-year basis. Now, there is a strategy that we know is income shifting that can show you how to legally, ethically, and morally get more money back into your paycheck, almost like giving yourself a pay raise without asking your boss. This strategy is so significant because many times people don't realize it, but they're overpaying in taxes. Many are overpaying in taxes over $1,000 a month. Many on average $200 to $800 a month. That extra money, if we show you how to get that back, or if you understand how to properly correct your W-4, what if you start taking that extra money and you applied it towards areas that could benefit you forever. Meaning you start taking that money and you pay down your debt. And now that boosts your credit score, saves you a ton of money on interest, and it got you out of that hole. What if you took that money and you started building a nest egg, a savings account, or investing that money, and now that money helps you build wealth? The money was once being held in taxes by paying into the federal taxes, but now it's being held in your investment account. So those are just two examples of a strategy that can help you when it comes to this. So for employees, withholding refers to the federal income tax portion of each paycheck that an employer takes out for tax purposes. It can also mean the amount from earnings that self-employed people and others voluntarily set aside to pay their estimated taxes. Those who are self-employed, sometimes they set money to the side and go ahead and pay it on a quarterly basis so they're not caught off guard. To each his own. I like to make sure I have the tax deductions that align, because everything that I do is connected to some form of tax deduction, especially if it's thing you're going to do anyway. You have to know how to make those things tax deductible. Things that you're going to do anyway, from travel to pay your phone bill, to pay utilities, to certain meals, and incorporating business as you do such things can position you. So make sure you have a strategy that's right for you. Now, after using the tax withholding estimator, taxpayers can determine if they need to submit an updated Form W-4, which is an employee's withholding certificate, to their employer. So when you use the estimator tool, it's not submitting anything. You're pretty much just seeing what your situation is likely to be if you continue doing what you're already doing. And if you like that situation, keep it. If you need to make adjustments to make it a more preferred situation for you, then you make the adjustments and you print that out. It'll have it pre-filled out. And now you turn that W-4 or the employee's withholding certificate into your employer. And then you can adjust the amount, that they voluntarily set aside. Keep in mind, emphasis on voluntarily. That's a whole nother conversation. For tax purposes, by adjusting the tax withholding, individuals can, number one, prevent owing money and potential penalties at tax time. Number two, adjust withholdings to increase take-home pay instead of waiting for a refund. Pretty much what I said, and I didn't even know they was going to include this. The IRS has been notifying people that you might be overpaying the taxes. You might be using that as a forced savings. You could get more of that money throughout the year versus waiting on a refund. The choice is yours, but it's all about what you do with that money, not necessarily just getting the money. So use the tool at least once a year or anytime your situation changes. Let's see what they say. By using this tool once a year, taxpayers can manage their estimates based on any personal life change, such as buying a home, changing jobs, having a child, or changing their marital status. So anytime your situation changes, or at least once a year minimum. For individuals who recently completed their 2024 tax return, the IRS advises them to use the tax withholding estimator that considers all income sources such as full-time wages, side jobs, any sale of services, or commodities typically reported on the 1099. So, required documents. When you're filling out the W-4 for effective tax withholding estimate, the IRS recommends taxpayers gather certain documents, including all income statements, including those of your spouse if filing jointly, data from other sources of earning, and the most recent income tax return. The more accurate you are with putting in information into the withholding calculator, the more accurate your results will be. So that's why they want you to have these items on hand. So Publication 505, Tax Withholding and Estimated Tax, provides instructions for taxpayers with complex tax situations that are difficult to solve with the tax withholding estimator. So everybody's situation is different, but now would be a great time to revisit your withholding. Again, if you want access to our playlist where we go over several different examples, let me know and I'll make it available down below. But this is just a heads up that before the year comes to an end, it's a great time to revisit your withholdings to see if you're on track to getting whatever results you desire, or if you're off track and you can adjust accordingly. That's all I got. If you need any help with, taking your credit to the next level, there should be some available links down below, as well as things that can help you take your cash flow to the next level as well. Mr. Smith, signing out. Salute.